Christmas is just around the corner. We're told this time of year is so magical, but for many it is the opposite. Christmas can so quickly become an overwhelming, busy, and stressful season, but it doesn't have to be that way. I've learned how to simplify the holidays to allow myself to enjoy it without the stress. Hi friends, my name is Tori and I'm an aspiring minimalist much like you. I post videos twice a week on this channel about minimalism, decluttering, and pursuing a simple and intentional lifestyle. I so appreciate you being here, especially those of you who have come back and continued to watch my videos. I would so love it if you could click that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, as I do spend a lot of time creating these videos, and doing those two simple little things really helps my channel grow. So let's get started on today's video on how to simplify Christmas and actually enjoy it again. My first tip on how to simplify Christmas is to decide what your Christmas priorities are. I'm not here to tell you what to do this Christmas and what not to do. That's for you to decide, because the things that are the most important to me, that I look forward to the most, might be the things that you dread and the things that stress you out. So you need to sit down with your family, your kids, your spouse, maybe with your parents or your extended family, and go over the things that are priorities and the things that maybe you can skip this Christmas. Maybe you have a tradition of going out and cutting down your Christmas tree, but truthfully you don't look forward to that. You don't actually enjoy that day. So if that's the case, you don't need to do that tradition anymore just because. But if that's your favorite part of Christmas, if you love going to cut that Christmas tree down, for sure keep doing it if it's something that brings you a lot of joy. Reflect on things like gift giving, holiday parties, traveling for Christmas, sending Christmas cards, or whatever other traditions or obligations you might have during the Christmas season. Decide which ones are important to you and which ones you feel like you could skip. My next tip on how to simplify your Christmas is that you don't have to buy a gift for everybody. And I promise I am not a Scrooge, you guys. And I do purchase some Christmas gifts, but I have gotten out of purchasing a Christmas present for every single person in my life. And I really only buy Christmas presents for a handful of people. Personally, the excessive gift giving was way too much for me, and I just felt like I was exchanging like a $20 bill with people. Like I had to buy them something and they bought me something in return, and I just didn't like that. And again, there is nothing wrong with gift giving. If gift giving is your love language, or if it's just something that you truly enjoy, don't skip it. But if you're like me and just get really stressed out by it, or maybe you're in the middle of paying back debt, or maybe you just can't afford it, then reconsider that or figure out a way that you can make it more attainable. My next tip on how to simplify Christmas is, when you do give Christmas gifts, make them consumable items or experiences. Because one of my top love languages is quality time, I really value gifts that reflect that. So gifts like concert tickets or a weekend getaway or a membership to a yoga studio are some of my favorite gifts to give or receive. I also love to give consumable things like a tray of cookies to my neighbors, or an essential oil room spray that my friends and family can use. I just really try my best to avoid purchasing things that will just become clutter in my family or friends' houses. My next tip on how to simplify and minimize Christmas is to create a budget and stick to it. It is never worth it to go into debt for Christmas. Do I sometimes wish that I could purchase a gift for every single person I know? Yes. But am I going to go into debt or take money out of savings in order to do so? No. It doesn't matter if you feel pressured to buy gifts or if you feel pressured to buy more expensive gifts. If you can't afford it, then you need to say no. Create a budget, and at the end of the day, you need to just not listen to what other people are saying, because it's your money, your finances, and your life, and you need to protect that. If purchasing a large amount of gifts is really important to you, I recommend that you start saving for Christmas months in advance, or maybe even a whole year in advance. Christmas is never a surprise. We always know when it's coming. We know that it's going to be expensive, so plan accordingly in order to reduce stress. My next tip on how to simplify and minimize Christmas is to get your shopping done early. For me, this is something that is so important, and I'm usually done all my Christmas shopping by about December 1st. And there's two reasons for this. The first is because I hate shopping when it's super busy. I hate going into the mall with 10 million people, wall-to-wall people. It just stresses me out so much. I don't enjoy it. So I make sure to do it early. And the second reason is because I find that if I wait until the last minute, or even if I wait until like the middle of December, things are sold out. I might find the perfect item for someone, but their size is sold out, or the color I'm wanting is sold out, and I just get frustrated because it gets harder to find things, it gets harder to find specific sizes. Walmart is completely sold out of toothbrushes by like December 20th because everyone in the world is getting a new toothbrush. So if I can do all my shopping earlier and just save myself that hassle, that is so worth worth it to me. And I also try to have all my food purchases done at least a week in advance, which means planning out my menu if I'm hosting something, planning out what I'm going to bring, if I'm bringing an appetizer to a family Christmas, planning that out in advance, and just making sure that I have all my regular groceries to get myself through that like 7 to 10 day range between Christmas and New Year's. It's my goal to completely eliminate the need to go into any stores at the end of December around Christmas time. And my next tip on how to simplify Christmas is to do your baking ahead of time. It's so easy to do your Christmas baking ahead of time, maybe even in November or the first few weeks of December. Just spend a whole day baking a whole bunch of stuff and then throw it in the freezer, and then you can pull it out as you need it throughout the holiday season. This will give you one less thing to worry about once the busyness starts. And when you all of a sudden last minute need to bring a dessert to an event that you weren't expecting, you don't need to scramble around. You can just go into your freezer and pull out something that you made a few weeks ago. And my next tip on how to simplify and minimize Christmas is to eat healthy meals when you can. I am not one to say no to desserts and sweets during Christmas as much as I wish that I could, but I do try to eat healthy meals whenever I can. If I'm not at a Christmas event, I try to up my smoothies or green juices or salads and just try to get lots of healthy meals in when I can, so that when I do indulge in extra heavy meals or extra sweets, I don't have to feel guilty about it. It doesn't have to be all or nothing with our food at Christmas time. Just make sure that you're getting the nutrients and the food that you need so that you don't end up getting sick, and just to keep your body and mind at optimum levels. And my next tip on how to simplify and minimize Christmas is don't let other people's expectations ruin it for you. I honestly think that this is the biggest thing for me. For us, Christmas is really overwhelming because we often travel back home, several thousand kilometers home for Christmas. And since we are only able to get home maybe once a year, a lot of people, a lot of our friends, and even some of our family haven't seen us in many, many months. So everybody wants to see us at the same time. We're invited to a million things, which is obviously amazing. We love having so many family and friends that want to see us and that love us, but it can be so overwhelming. And there was a few years that we were just so stressed out by it, and we just weren't able to fit everything into our days. And our option was either to disappoint people or be totally exhausted, and we just weren't able to fit everything into a day. This always resulted in my husband and I hardly seeing each other, especially in the years when we were dating. This should have been a vacation for us as well, but we ended up hardly seeing each other during that time. We've learned to be really clear with our family and friends and let them know what our limits are, what our boundaries are, and how we'll be spending our time. And also just making a plan in advance instead of people being disappointed or mad at you after you leave. And don't expect this to be easy or for people to not be disappointed. But the reality is that you can only do so much. You're only one person. You can't be in 2, 3, 4 places at one time. And you also deserve to enjoy this holiday season. And after a few years, this does get easier to not let other people's expectations ruin it for you. And along with that is learning to say no. This can be really, really hard for some people, but the only way to not let other people's expectations ruin it is to learn to say no to things. You have to learn how to say no to invites or events or even just certain traditions. So go back to the beginning of this and figure out what your priorities are, what things are super important for you to do this Christmas, and then say no to the things that aren't those. If money is tight, you can politely decline the Christmas gift exchange that your family is doing. Or if you're feeling overwhelmed or you have too many things to do, it's okay to skip an event. Maybe you just can't go to your Christmas work party this year, and that's okay. And then my last tip to simplify and minimize Christmas is to set aside time for your family. During the hustle and bustle of Christmas, we often end up spending less time with the people that are the most important to us. If you want to simplify your Christmas, it's so important to set aside time for your family, and I'm talking your immediate family, your spouse if you have kids, or possibly your parents depending on what stage of life you're in. And this doesn't have to look a certain way. We love setting aside Christmas morning to just spend as a couple, opening presents from each other, making a nice meal, and just having a really slow Christmas morning and setting our own family traditions. If Christmas has become a time of year that's super busy and super stressful for you, I hope that these tips will be helpful for you, and I truly hope that you'll be able to find some ways to enjoy Christmas again this year. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in a few days in my next video.